mono-white Heliod deck that we were doing pretty well with early into Wilds of Eldraine. There's been a few updates here. I've been really struggling with like getting the deck to where I want it to be, and I think I have finally done that. One, and this is kind of funny after we're talking about the One Ring, but I'm really on the Beanstalk hype train. I think it is a better card advantage engine than the One Ring in general. Just in general, it's it's cheaper, draws a lot of cards, doesn't cost you life, much easier to resolve. And having a cheaper plan in the scam meta is really important, so like you just don't have all these expensive cards that they can ignore. And this just is a deck that can play Beanstalk. It's already a Solitude Leyline Binding deck, and you kind of have some incidental, like late game Ballista Mikaeus can be cast for big enough to draw a card. We also got the Mikaeus in there. Mikaeus was a card that a friend of mine suggested, Canister suggested, is pretty interesting. Is pretty interesting card with Cauldron specifically. A 1 of Ranger-Captain to target is about where I'm at with it. When I've been playing with the deck, it's like, it's fine. It's not a card that I'm sure is going to stay, but it also, I think, fits really well in the current build, where we were on 24 lands with the 4 rings. Cutting the rings, definitely want to cut down to 23 lands at least. Could even see going as low as 22. I think 23 is a good number. You want to hit that 4th land drop. And so, like, I don't think this is a 4 of Cauldron deck. I think this is a 3 of Cauldron deck. I have exactly 1 flex spot is the way I'm looking at it, and so Mikaeus is in that flex spot instead of like a main deck Elesh Norn. But I mostly just want to be playing a ton of Elesh Norns in the sideboard for 4 color. 4 color is super popular, best card. Yeah, we had Up the Nice in the past, so I think it's good to still play Snow Basics to continue to bluff, or to bluff that we might have On the Nice post board, but not really much downside, right? I guess Break the Ice is a card people are actually playing now, but if I have an opponent who boards in Break the Ice against me, I'm not really upset, I think. Yeah, the Mikaeus also, like, one thing about Mikaeus in the flex spot is it is like a Ranger Captain. It does be worth playing with the Bean synergy. Not in this deck. We don't really have enough creatures to convoke. We saw a kind of interesting list. Dude, this is so shitty. Cut a land. 0 lander. Okay. Definitely gonna keep. And my Heliod Ballista combo deck, I'm just gonna put back Heliod and Ballista. Try to draw a green source. And unmulligan. There's a green source. Unmulligan with our Beanstalk double binding draw. Tap Sacred Foundry. The Wooded Foothills. Could be Domain Zoo, could be Creativity. I kind of like the idea of just getting a Triome this turn. Like if they have Spell Pierce or something, they may like untap, play it to Fairy, then you can go Beanstalk Binding instead of just playing into Spell Pierce or like Binding of their own, letting them untap. What do you think about Dawn of Hope in this deck? How many times are you gonna ask me about Dawn of Hope today? Oh wait, you asked me about Dawn of a New Age. Are those different cards? I don't know. We don't have enough creatures, right? That's the one that, like, it's 2-mana enchantment, gets a counter for each creature in play, remove a counter, draw a card on your upkeep. That card is kind of cool, but... Oh, that card. The, like, EDH, whenever you gain life, pay 2, draw a card. I would never play it. Okay, seems like I have figured out the play here of do nothing. Did you try Heartless Beanstalk? Heartless Summoning Beanstalk? We did, yeah. That's a deck I would play. So like that, I can go Esper Sentinel with a counter on it next turn. Sentinel, a 2/2 Sentinel hits pretty dang hard. Kind of, I think, immediately showing, Beanstalk is better than the Ring. It's kind of crazy, at least with the current like types of cards that are available to us in Modern. Just such a stupid card. Oh, sorry, I forgot to update the box field title. I was too busy cleaning up the tea. Okay. Yeah, it's just like 2 mana, 3 for 1. Binding the Binding. Welcome to Modern. Okay, so let's go Sentinel, Beanstalk. And then I need to think about using my Binding now or just playing another Sentinel. I think I'm just going to play another Sentinel. Sentinels are so good in this deck. They're just 2/2s so often. Moxfield, cool stuff. Moxfield sure is some cool stuff, huh? Have you played any Bean Shining Shoal decks yet? No, not yet. I think that this kind of strategy... Oh, no. Did not want to see that one. I think that this deck could kind of end up being an evolution, though, of that. Yeah, I need to kill this Teferi this turn. Okay, so the 2 Power Sentinels triggering first. Let's go ahead and let this trigger. And then in response to this, I'm going to put another counter on the other Sentinel here, so I get to draw a card. Now maybe they'll get rid of the Beanstalk. So now well, I guess if I can't Binding the Binding. I can't do anything as a Teferi, but if I was gonna Binding the Binding, it would just be the same number of cards anyways. But yeah, just no play because of the Teferi. So I think we can play Ballista on 2, and then we have keep Binding up. I think because there's not an Up the Beanstalk in play anymore, I want to like maybe Binding their Binding, get the Bean back, and then trigger the Solitude with the Bean, or the Bean with the Solitude. Dawn of a New Age looks great. Please, with the Dawn propaganda. Alright, how many cards will we get off these Esper Sentinels? Oh, Ranger-Captain huge here to try to stop my opponent from scape-shifting me next turn. Josie with the 14, hope you're doing well today. Man, I'm really excited about this deck. I've been working on it for like... I'm glad I really took my time with this one, because I know this deck was a big hit pretty early into Wilds of Eldraine, and I'm glad I took the time to cook it, and I think it really just took me playing with Up the Beanstalk a lot more to understand that Beanstalk is just better than the One Ring in these kind of decks, and the deck is already splashing green for Haywire Mite. Okay. What do we do about this? It's better to leave our Binding under their Binding, or to Binding the Binding, get our Binding back. I don't think it's really any different, but I could be missing something about that dynamic. Bind now, so then I get 2 extra land drops. I think they've already played their first land for turn. If I'm wrong about that, we definitely Binding now. But yeah, they've already played 1 land for turn, which was maybe a big mistake, right? So I wonder if they still target this Esper Sentinel here. They've got to be like a little bit concerned about me Heliod comboing them, right? Yeah, so they're going to kill one of my Sentinels. It is really nice to play like Esper Sentinel in a deck like this and have it just feel super, super good. I know that there's been like a little bit of like Esper Sentinel slander. It hasn't been seeming as good as it has been because of the whole Orcish Bowmaster thing, but I'm definitely liking it a lot. I'm probably gonna put a counter on my Ballista here, and then Ranger-Captain for another Ballista. This is something I don't think I've really said very much, but maybe the biggest like comeback in Modern from like Wilds of Eldraine is Walking Ballista. Like the card has gone from being like just a Hardened Scales card to being a card that you see in like almost every single Soul Cauldron brew. Although maybe I'll hold the Giver of Runes to pitch to Solitude. Yeah, let's do that. They have another like Ballista is a card that like was like I almost never put in Bruce, and then I'm putting it like every fucking deck, and like this deck is really good. It's like now like almost stock in Yawgmoth. Scales is like one of the top 3 decks in Modern. Why Stoke Plains? I was playing Onthanice in this deck in the past. I'm just mostly bluffing now that I have Onthanice in the deck. Let's see, so I only need to play a 2/2 Ballista to kill them. So I guess we'll forego the ability to draw an extra card here so that I can also like Haywire Mite a Leyline Binding or something. My opponent's not conceding. I'm going to ping them at some point, but you know, if they're not going to concede, I'm going to take my time here. Okay. Elesh Norn seems like a definite slam dunk, of course. I have 1 Haywire Mite in the main deck. I don't know if I want a second post-board. Probably in this, because it doesn't kill Dryad. Probably not. Reprieve is a card that I have been bringing in these matchups. I don't know if I'm going to be bringing it in now. I think this is not a Mikaeus matchup. I think it's a matchup where we trim a Solitude. Elesh Norn also triggers Beanstalk, for what it's worth. I think we trim a Heliod, at least 1 Heliod. I feel like I want some number of Reprieves and not the full 4. I think we maybe go down 3 Ballista, 2 Heliod, 2 Reprieves. Do you think Enchantress is bad or underplayed in Modern? Enchantress is underplayed, I think. I would not call a deck bad. In fact, there's like... I feel like almost every time I play against Enchantress, I'm like, oh, this is like definitely the worst matchup for the deck. Can we trim that one giver? Oh, the mismatched one? I think I want all 4 in this matchup. You really want to... They have a lot of... No, they have a lot of removal, and... Your 1-drops in your Cauldron decks are pretty good, and protecting Elesh Norn is pretty good. I want to keep the Givers in. But, I don't know. Giver. This is a removal-based matchup. I'm pretty happy just to have all 4 Givers. Like they're more of a like 4-color Omnath deck than they are a Scapeshift deck. Would you call Grixis control bad? Not to your face. But behind your back, yeah. Yeah, I would never call anybody's pet deck bad to their face, I guess, except for all the time. Besides all the time, I would never. Yeah, Dingo's been like loving Grixis control lately, I feel. It's so funny. Alright, a fair trade always. Rin and 6 but a card for the Esper Sentinel. I'm going to play the Beanstalk here. I think it's like a little weird to take the turn off, but the Ballista is also not looking super good here. I mean, if they ping again, then we ping the Rin and 6. They also haven't played a fetch land yet, so the Rin and 6 may not be as scary as it would be otherwise. Is the couch meta a fad, or does it have legs? I can't foresee. Couches outperforming RGB gaming chairs as a bonus to APM. A gaming chair feels too important in games like Magic Online. Yeah, I like to play off meta furniture typically. I know not everybody likes it, but it's what works for me. So I'm gonna wait on the Sentinel until next turn when I can put an Idyllic Grange counter on it. Is it just too slow for me to play another Beanstalk? It's like really good if I can find a Binding at some point. I think I'm down to go like Beanstalk, Giver of Runes. Just believe in the beans, you know. Did the Dimir deck from Dallas die off? From the PT dive? Yeah, Dimir Ring's been like really in the dumpster. When we were doing our PT testing, it was like the worst performing deck that was on our radar by a good amount. So they get their land back. Force of Vigor. Well, we'll take it, I guess. We both spent 4 mana to not impact the boards too much, but my 4 mana play at least. At least drew me 2 cards. What does this say? 2 for 3. Heliod is really nice in these spots, like, to threaten the combo here. Like, my opponent probably has to try to play somewhat reactively. It's maybe difficult for them to do that because I have Giver of Runes and Esper Sentinel up. And if I feel like I can't reliably go for the combo here next turn, then I can just play Ranger-Captain, turn Heliod into a creature sometimes, and get in. Been playing Narset in the board, which helps a lot against 4-color. Yeah, I don't think the Demiurge deck is bad. I'm mostly just kind of teasing a little bit. I guess I'm not joking when I say it was the worst performing deck we had. It was the worst performing deck we had by like a pretty significant amount. All right, let's get this trigger resolve. Like we kind of had a running joke at the testing house that was like, if the deck that you like, your pet deck is running bad, the deck you want to play at the PT is running bad, then you just need to spend like you need to do a match against Dimir, and then your win percentage goes up. Alright, are they gonna binding my Sentinel? I'm gonna go for the combo if they binding the Sentinel. Yeah, they go for the Heliod here. So I guess I'll name red because they only have a Copperline Gorge up. So now what? Do you see any path for Hammer being very good at Modern again? I mean, that would imply that Hammer was ever very good at Modern. I don't know. It's always been like a fine deck. I don't expect it to be a big part of the Modern metagame anytime soon. Again, no, but it's not a bad deck either. It is simply a deck. Yeah, Captain for Haywire Mite seems pretty good. I'm just kind of thinking if I want to Idyllic Grange. I guess I do need to get Idyllic Grange, so I guess I'm just gonna say I missed a point of damage. Lurisair, yeah, I'm mostly teasing, but like I don't know. Hammer has really never been like the best choice for a Modern tournament. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I've ever been like, yeah, I'm like really super duper scared of Hammer. It's just always one of those kind of decks where like I'm gonna play some sideboard cards and I'll beat it sometimes, I'll lose to it sometimes. Sometimes my matchup's better against it than others, but it's just never like a super scary deck. I think, at least it hasn't been for me. Even when Lurrus was legal, I was just playing Lurrus in my decks. Like Lurrus was really good against Hammer too. You got loop engineered explosives and stuff. It's fine. It's fine. Like, I don't know. I like the one thing that is really bad for Hammer, and this has been true for like a year and a half, ever since Patchwork was printed, is that Scales is a better artifact aggro deck than Hammer. Hardened Scales is a better artifact aggro deck than Hammer is. And so like this is something I think people are kind of waking up to a little bit, and that is making it difficult for for Hammer to thrive, is that there's a better artifact aggro deck. Okay, so I wait on the Haywire Mite, right? Because I want to be able to sack my Ranger-Captain first. So untap, sack Ranger-Captain, Haywire Mite, Ballista, X equals 1, Grange onto Ballista, win the game. Should I attack first? Attack first, sack the Ranger-Captain in the damage step. Yeah, Hammer math is a lot easier. I do agree with that. And before Solitude? Yeah, I'm not sure that they are playing Solitude for what it's worth. Oh, I didn't show them I had Idyllic Grange yet, but whatever. It's kind of obvious I have it if I'm sacking the Ranger-Captain there. Oh, I almost fucked up, though. I didn't realize I drew the Idyllic Grange there. Holy shit, I didn't realize I drew the Grange. I almost played the Windswept Heath to fetch for the Grange. Oh my gosh. Did I consider the Siege Horn Ceratops test in that build? I really did not like the build. Mikaeus. Now we have added one more shitty card, but it triggers up the Beanstalk. So how bad can it be? But that's what's nice about this compared to this is the like, and this is also like the third 0-land hand we've seen so far this league. But you know what I mean? It's your card quality is really high in this build compared to other builds. Kind of regretting putting back Solitude. Sometimes I Solitude the Grief. Probably would have in this spot. This matchup overall has been pretty reasonable. You know, we might lose because we're getting scanned, but we might win because we have 4 Sanctifiers in our sideboard. After trying 4 Cauldron Scales, I think 4 is the right number of Cauldrons and Scales at the moment. I think that you want to board the 4th copy out in a good number of matchups, but the card is just so strong, and it's like Cauldron is a great card. It's like just an absolute modern staple. It is the most powerful in Scales. I think it's maybe close between power level in Scales and Yawgmoth, but I think it's the most powerful in Scales. It's sometimes awkward where you draw 2, but you really want to draw it. It's just that good. I think I'm pretty far away from not playing the 4th Cauldron at this point. I might be cutting 2nd Ozolith for 1st main deck Ring. I still think the 1st main deck Ring could be good. Although one issue I think with do I get Temple Guard? I'm gonna get Basic Plains. One issue with playing a main deck Ring with the 4 Cauldrons is you're kind of like, it's kind of a lot of non-creature spells. I guess it's the same number of non-creature spells I've always played. Oh, Scam Grief into Scam Fury. Fun for everyone involved. Great game. Okay, I'm gonna bring in Sanctifiers, Forge-Tender. Have not been bringing in Giant Killer. Don't think I'm going to. Yeah, Mikaeus I do think is bad against Scam in 4 color, which makes it kind of sus. But it's been like good enough in my testing that I'm like still wanting to register it, I think. And then I think what do? I've done a few different things in this matchup. I want to go down to like 1 or 2 or 0 Heliod. I don't want Haywire Mite. I think I go down to 2 Heliod, 3 Ballista. Could also just do 1 Heliod 4. You used to almost never combo in this matchup. Let's try this. Is Turn the Earth a good sideboard card in food decks playing Steelseeker? I think just in general, like if you're playing a Steelseeker food deck, you want your graveyard hate to be like Soul Guide Lantern so you can get enough Saga. I understand like that is kind of a fun use for the card, but in general, it's not something. I think Turn the Earth is just pretty bad overall. Yeah, they didn't tank that long, which is... I will say, Scam would be a lot more sufferable if the players on average were faster. This player, thankfully, faster. Have I matched against Scales with this deck recently? I don't think so, no. The matchup is, I think, fine. Like, you're a Leyline Binding, Solitude, Haywire Mite deck with a combo that they don't have the easiest time interacting with. Does Porphyry Node see any play? I love Porphyry Nodes. I used to sideboard it all the time in my like Jeskai control decks. I think the format is kind of too fast for it. Like creatures hit a little too hard. Or like when you're playing Porphyry Nodes, like you're pretty committed to like getting hit by like Ragavan. It's like pretty bad against Orcish Bowmasters, but I do like that card. Whatever happened to Lantern Control? A lot happened to Lantern Control. I do remember that deck. My friend Zach Elsick is the progenitor of the archetype. Oh, are they? I think they're thinking about griefing my bean. They're considering it. Yeah, wow. We'll take that. Man, this like just shows how good Bean is. Like, it's so cheap, and your opponents like kind of have to kill it because they can't outgrind it. And when they do kill it, they're so behind on resources. It's like not really a winning play too. I'm gonna maybe incentivize them to play another Thoughtseize by not playing my basic planes here. That being said, we do have to draw some spells at some point. Let's make it. We're not playing around Orcish Bowmaster by not attacking, so let's attack. Now, do I think there's any chance my opponent might have Blood Moon in against me? I think that there's probably enough of a chance that I will play a Flooded Strand here. Also, it's a card they know about. We played Lantern Control in the Tron shell recently, and like, we didn't do awful with it. I don't really remember doing well with it either, though. Evoke Fury. Well, they have one card left in their hand. We'll see if it's good. It's not a scam card, at least. I'm gonna get basic planes. I think playing around Blood Moon's a bit better than having access to 1 mana binding when I'm just like in top deck mode, you know. Although maybe I should have held the fetch for another Idyllic Grange. That might have been a bit better. We have so many Granges in the deck, though. We have another fetch land. It's probably fine, though. It's not a bad draw. Let's attack. MH2 Obliterate. I mean, Lantern, like, people say this about decks that were, like, long dead before MH2. Like, it was really MH1. Like, Force of Vigor was, like, really the big thing. Or one of the big things against Hammer. Or against, sorry, Lantern. There's a lot that contributed to Lantern's death. And I think that it was dead long before MH2. Thought they were gonna have Grief here, and that was gonna be a lot better than Shielded, I suppose. I'm like pretty committed to Solitude in this. I can't really even think of a draw that I would play over Solitude here, so we'll just make sure we don't lose the 2 life. Yeah, if anything, Urza Saga was like MH2 was helping Lantern control because of Urza Saga more than it was hurting it. We played that Tron version of it not that long ago. That version seemed not that bad. Although it wasn't as good as like the other Tron variant we played, I think. Yeah, in this matchup, like growing your Sanctifier is such a good line too. Like a 2/2 they can ignore for a little while. 4/4 is a lot harder for them to raise. Was the Tron version just cramming in a Tron shell? Yeah, you'd have to dig a little bit for it. But yeah, more or less. But like you get Karn, you get I think I was playing Golos, but I just also am so addicted to Golos. Does Cauldron do anything in Goblins? Yeah, I think Cauldron is the kind of deck that wants a lot of your stuff to have +1 counters, though, and there just isn't a lot of +1 counters, but there's some merit for sure. So, I mean, they're definitely acting like they have outs. But whatever else they have, we're not drawn. Game 3. Do you play Elesh Norn as it was suggested? We have them in the sideboard at the moment. I think if the Mikaeus ends up being bad, I'll probably want to main deck the first Elesh Norn. It's been pretty okay for me, though. I've been siding it out a lot, which is kind of making it hard to evaluate, but I've been tutoring for it with Ranger-Captain, drawing cards off Beanstalk, Cauldroning it a little bit. It's been okay. Trident was pretty bad. We 4-1'd with Cauldron Elves, Simon, but also Cauldron was not very good in the deck. The last 2 times I played Elves, though, I 5-0'd and 4-1'd, and I'm kind of trying to keep that high. Oh, good hand. Let's see if it gets griefed. What match you set in Norn? A 4-color, the Almeth decks. You can set him against Titan and Scapeshift also. I might play like 1 copy against blue-white control or something. Did I try Ceratops in this specific build? I didn't try it, but I don't think it's good either. Like, again, the idea of this deck is your card quality is really, really high. Which is kind of like a funny thing to say if you're not like super familiar with Magic, I guess. But that is the idea. Your card quality here is really high, and you're basically just Splinter Twin, where you have your all modern staples and then the card Splinter Twin for your combo. Ugh. Kind of just, you know, the same formula or whatever. Ooh, that's a good one. So let's go Beanstalk, response to the Bean Trigger, evoke Solitude. Okay, I drew all 3 cauldrons. Little cauldron flooded. Fuck. I don't know decked Elves, but Lava Dart was the most played deck in Modern U4-1. It's funny. I wonder what they take with this Thoughtseize. Only have 3 cauldrons in the deck. I'm going to revisit Sweet's Revenge still. I mean, I like the deck a lot. I'll continue to like work on it and think about it, but yeah, I don't feel like there's a ton of like wiggle room. I don't think there's. I'm not overflowing with new ideas or anything. It is nice that we can stop them from scamming us with this. No second Bowmaster is nice. Oh. They drew it. So a Walking Ballista, Sanctifier, and en-Vec would be really good. If we draw a fetch land, we can kill this, but it's awkward because the Bowmaster will get to trigger. And a splash of white for Samwise. No reason for the combo. I think Sam is worse than Steelseeker. Like, what would you cut for Sam? I guess you would have to think that it's better. Okay, so if I bind... I probably have to binding the Orc army, right? This version seems less consistent than the other. Are you talking about like Coco Heliod? Because I'm like almost eye rolling at that. Has anybody been doing well with Coco Heliod? Because I haven't seen like anybody put up results with it. This is a deck that I feel like has been putting up really good results. We've had like a couple of like very, very, I think, you know, impressive streams with this deck. Like this is more of a mid-range deck with like a combo very similar to like Blue-Red Twin back in the day than it is a consistent combo deck. You always draw the wrong pieces. There was a stream where we were like 9-1 with this deck. Like, what are you talking about? This is also my second match on stream with this deck, with this build of the deck, and like, we drew. What are we talking about? You always draw the wrong pieces. Trying the second binding might have been 10 target Bowmaster. Yeah, but then we go to 1. It's just so hard to win from there. I was talking about the Coco deck. I'm so confused. I was not talking about this amazing deck. I guess I'm just confused. Or you're talking about the Coco deck is less consistent than this one? I guess it just... Okay, Beanstalk in the mono white deck, I guess. I'm going to keep this, and I think I'm going to put back second Ballista. We'll draw green. Adding Reg for Engineer. Yeah, we played an Engineer version of this deck. There was a pretty interesting... What was the card that comboed with it? The Elemental. I can't even remember. We did it the other week. Last week. Don't you need 4 rings? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, you could maybe play 3, but you kind of need 4. It's like really like 4 over 0 of in this kind of deck. War Elemental, right? Okay, we have been getting Bowmastered a lot, huh? Guess I kind of need to Ballista this Bowmaster. Their draw's definitely lined up pretty well against mine. You still believe there's such a thing as earnest deck building question chat? This is so sweet. It's also very true. There's a lot of very like cynical chatters like you who are like who think that like you can't have a productive conversation on Twitch.tv, but we do like constantly every single day. I think we have good conversations. Although you know you're also probably just bantering too. But there are people that are like very much like, you can't have a good conversation on Twitch with your chat, just ignore them, but I feel like we always do. Ooh, okay, I'm probably down this game, huh? Yeah, we've had a lot of good ideas from chat, too. Okay, I'm gonna pack it. We had more Anthonices in our first build, so we had a few more sideboard cards for the Yogg matchup. Elesh Norn is not really doing a lot. Our plan A is not so bad. overall. We're a Solitude binding deck. We have our own Ballista. We have our Cauldron to fight their Cauldrons. Like, we don't have a lot of super weak cards. This is a Mikaeus matchup. Sentinel's pretty bad. Maybe play a second Mite. Not that Mite's super good, but keeping their Cauldrons off the field is pretty important. Maybe play like a... Could have exiled your Ballista for their Undying. They could have exiled your Ballista for their Wolf. Yeah, exactly. That's why. Get on the play. Not super far away. I think if like this Heliod was another land or good card I would keep. Let's just go to 6. Not a hand I love, but we at least are hitting our land drops. Yeah, turning your Young Wolf into a Ballista is a pretty dang good thing to do. Do you think Bolt is a good swap out for Preordained Blue-Red Fish? So there's like this weird phenomenon with like Merfolk players where they just really want to play Lightning Bolt. And I think it's because you guys have never gotten to play Lightning Bolt before. Am I understanding that correctly? That Merfolk players have been looking at like the Murktide players and the Twin players and the Delver players for years, and they just want to play Lightning Bolt so bad that they keep asking me about it. But yo, Lightning Bolt is, I think, not a card that makes any sense in Merfolk at all. Lightning Bolt is, and I might have to whisper when I say this, it's not that good in Modern. It's not that good anymore. It's pretty mediocre. It's like just not that. Oh man, they definitely have a Bowmaster here. Fuck. They're with this attack. I'm gonna cast it, I guess. It feels bad. Oh, nice. Love that. Guess they just wanted to bluff it. I guess, yeah, that works. Yeah, but Lightning Bolt is just not. It's fine. It's like it's a playable Modern card. Okay, they just didn't cast the Bowmasters. They did have it though. They just didn't cast it. It's like Lightning Bolt is like a fine Modern card, but it's like we're not like splashing for a red 1-drop in our Merfolk deck. Like Flame is castable because it's a 3-mana card you're splashing for. Splashing for 1-drops is like that. It's got to be like a really effective card, and this one just isn't. They're minusing this Grist. Wow. Is it fine or is it mediocre? It's fine. It's a good Modern card. Lightning Bolt is not like one of the best Modern cards. It's like Lightning Bolt is probably not a top 20 Modern card anymore. But it's playable. Like I register Lightning Bolt. Okay, so let's just go Ranger-Captain for Ballista, and then I think I'm gonna Binding the Grist. Got a 3/3 blocks their 2/2s. Name 20 better cards. Then it would be pretty easy. I could start by just naming cards I see. Up the Beanstalk, Grist, Orcish Bowmasters, Yawgmoth, Fury Solitude, Grief, Endurance. Maybe not Subtleties. I just put Bolt over Subtlety. Urza Saga, Red and 6, Teferi Time Raveler. Ragavan, Dracorage's Channeler, Murktide, Expressive Iteration, Counterspell. Unholy Heat is also better than Lightning Bolt. Leyline Binding. I don't know. It would be, you know, this would be a very easy list. Young Wolf. You don't want the answer to that one. Solitude is a really good use of my. Yeah, let's go Solitude this turn. It's like pretty obvious I have it, but who cares? Is Bowmasters the new Ragavan? But I think that they do very different things, but they are both good creatures. So yeah, and Mishra's Bauble is also on that list. I don't know, like Bolt is maybe not like a top 30 Magic card in Modern even. Yeah, the One Ring. There's a lot of better cards. I feel like I telegraphed the Solitude so hard, but it's okay. We'll take our value. Why is blue-white control so bad? It's literally not, though. Like, blue-white players are so dramatic. They're always like, my deck is not... It's just not the best deck in Modern. Why does Wizards hate blue-white control players? Honorog, like, literally just won the Brainstorm. It's like, it's... Blue-white is so fine. The deck is... It's a good Modern deck. If I drew a white card, I may have gone Beanstalk Evoke or something. I'm a blue-white player. Deck feels really okay. Yeah, you get to splash for Beanstalk. You're good to go. Top cards. Yeah, top cards is a little weird, right? Because like I know Lightning Bolt is still like a popular card. Like it's a card that is in the 2 best decks, but it's like not one of the best cards. You know what I mean? It's good. Lightning Bolt is it's a good. I'll even say it's a good Modern card, but it's not one of the best ones. Oh, I guess they only have 1 card in their hand. It should be kind of fine, actually. What are the 2 best decks? Oh, sorry. I mean, did you play Bolt and Beans? I don't know why I was thinking. I was counting Murktide as one of the 2 best decks. That is what my brain was saying for some reason, but it's not something I believe. I mean, we could Ballista here, but we won't get a Beanstalk value. It is a fine Modern card. It gets the job done. Lightning Bolt actually got a lot better recently, I think, with the... with Scam being so popular, I think Lightning Bolt has improved a little bit. I think I'm just going to be a little lazy and kill everything. But this also lets me pressure... Like, I get like a clean attack with the Solitude. Get to clean their entire board. They have no cards in their hand. I've had, I think, a hard time articulating this about Up the Beanstalk, but Up the Beanstalk is just so good at making sure, like, you just use your mana completely efficiently and effectively every single turn. By not attacking? Am I too lazy to attack? Yeah, I should have got in. Sorry. I don't know why I didn't. Just kind of, like, didn't factor the Mite into the turn very much, I guess. I really don't want these Sentinels in the draw, I guess. Look, I don't have anything besides Reprieves. Let's play Reprieves. Yeah, I really, really like this deck. Let me keep this one. I like to have Beanstalk into Solitude on turn 2. Does Beanstalk only need 8 hits? We don't have 8 hits. We have we also have Ballista, Mikaeus, and then Ranger-Captain for Ballista, Mikaeus. So like it's kind of the same formula as Beanstalk and like blue-white control, where you have Binding Solitude, and then you have like Lorien revealed, which is not like an ideal card for Beanstalk, but is like in the late game something that you will be casting to trigger it. Does that make sense? At least that's how I'm thinking about it. Oh, is that Lucy? It's Athena. Come here, Athena. Come here. Let's Solitude the Wall of Roots. Let's see what we draw. What I like about Solitude on Wall of Roots is it's a bit better if they have Bowmasters to do this now. Slows them down a lot. So it's as bad if I like draw nothing, but I'm also like not doing well in general if I draw nothing. You know what I mean? Lord Reveal draws 5, wins games. Yeah, for sure. And I also like so does like 3/3 Ballista draw 2 cards. So if they Haywire Mite me, am I gonna Solitude? I kind of like it. I kind of like it. Let's not. But I the Yawgmoths are a lot worse without a Young Wolf in play, for what it's worth. But I also just like having Heliod in play, like I'm comboing if I draw a Ballista. I'm getting hard cast the Solitude. They only have 3 cards in their hand. Yeah, it's a little risky to Heliod this turn, where If they Yawgmoth this turn, I have to draw a white card to Solitude it, but I would prefer to hard cast the Solitude anyways. So they don't have double black. They do have an Agatha's Soul Cauldron, so they can Mite my Heliod here. Thankfully I have Mite for their Cauldron, I guess. They could have done one more damage if they Pendled Haven first. Not sure how on that radar that line was for them. Yeah, I think I want to block and then sack. I want to make sure, and you know, they're going to do this at some point, but don't really need to do anything now, right? Oh, yeah, the Young Wolf doesn't undie. It's actually pretty big. So if they want to get rid of my Heliod, which they probably will want to here, they do lose the wolf permanently. So I guess they Cauldron my Mite so that I can't Cauldron my Mite. These like Cauldron mirrors are always so intricate. Huh, they put the counter on the Strangle Root. I would have loved to have been in the meeting when they designed Agatha's Soul Cauldron. It's such a unique card. It's a really special card. So they do have a second black source now, so it's possible that if they had a Yawgmoth stranded in their hand, it's now unstranded. Seems like a good turn to Ballista. They can also have Cord in their hand pretty easily, so it may be good to just kill the Strangler guys now. I feel like you'd have been playing it cool, trying to make sure it didn't get interrupted before printing. Well, I didn't realize how good it was. Like, if remember, like I was unsure if it was going to be this effective. Although, like when you're doing consulting and stuff, like there is like a process where you like build decks, submit decks, so maybe like during that process I would have figured it out a bit early. But I don't. It is kind of funny when I was doing the consulting for Lord of the Rings and then also for the Assassin's Creed set. It's like you really have to think about the game in a totally different way from when you're like brewing and creating content. It was very hard to like flip the switch for me, where usually what I do is I'm looking at cards and I want every card I see to be really good. I like to see broken cards when I'm looking at new cards, but it was very funny dynamic to like be like, oh, I still target this. Just make. I think it's better to maybe make them punt with Pendelhaven than it is to like deal 1 damage here. Yeah, there we go. It's but instead of that, I'm like looking at you know, trying to make sure the set is balanced, which is just a very different different dynamic. Sure. Just in case they got Wise of the Pendelhaven already, I'm gonna kill this. And Trouble finishing Assassin's Creed. No, I already mentioned it. I was keeping it cool, but then like when Canister did his YouTube video about the consulting on MH3, he mentioned the Assassin's Creed stuff. So I feel like it's cool. The Assassin's Creed set it's a lot smaller too than the Lord of the Rings one. It's like it's bigger than Aftermath, but small, like much smaller than a normal set. Okay, I can't quite double activate Ballista. If I can Grange and activate. Is it it's non-draftable? Yeah, it might be non-draftable. Can't remember. Is it standard? I don't think it's standard. I think it's just like legal and modern. guess I'm kind of okay if they jump with Blood Artist. Is there anything I'm hoping for from Miniature? I'm always... People ask me, like, if I'm hoping for anything from Modern Horizons 3. I'm always just hoping for new cards. I really never am longing for reprints. There's like a couple of cards that could be printed into Modern that I think would be fine and like good. Innocent Blood is like a card like that, but for the most part, I just want new cards that are cool and well designed and interesting and fun, invitable, replaying and exciting, replayable, exciting. What's so bad about that, huh? Felipe with the 11, Dr. Bill with the 7. Thank y'all. Oh, whoops! Sorry, I totally missed that they minus there. I would have pinged in response. I guess it wouldn't have worked though if they used the Pendelhaven. I did not work on MH3, no. I got invited for what I believe was MH3, but they wanted me to come to Seattle to work on it, so I said no. Not actually. I don't know for sure, but it sounded like that's probably what it was. Oh, let's go, dude. Mikaeus? You're dead. Mikaeus the Hydra. Is just Mikaeus doing the main? We're playing beans over rings now. I think I've determined that Up the Beanstalk is better than the One Ring in general, but also in this deck. Just like so much cheaper on the mana curve, and just always have stuff to do with your mana, and you like also just are already meeting the deck's requirements. Nice to be able to stop another Cauldron off the top here too. Have I looked at Tamashii since my epiphany earlier? I'm struggling with Tamashii. I don't know. I've had a few different drafts and I'm like very stuck on a few like question marks, like Recruiter and Kyla's Reconstruction Restoration, whatever that card's called. I've been stuck on like those decision points, and I've been stuck on. I've also been looking to see like, is there a combo we can play? Is there a combo we can play in the archetype that is better than Cultivator Colossus? Because Colossus is like only castable when you're comboing, and it like requires you to play like a Thassa's Oracle or like a Reckless Bushwhacker or something in your deck to win the game with. Which I don't love, having like all these dead draws in this current Modern format. So I've been kind of stuck, but there's a lot to like about Cauldron Tamashii, I think. And like one thing I really like about it is like Goblin Engineer is good in Tamashii. They name Leyline Binding. Goblin Engineer is good in Tamashii, and very good with Cauldron. Colossus wins with 1 Valakut, 2 Dryads. I thought, yeah, I know, but you could do it that way, sure. I was kind of looking at maybe building it a little bit too artifacts focused. Could just be like the more Nassif style strategy for sure. I don't have any cyborg guides anymore, Crazy Frog. It's just so tough to like find the time to work on cyborg guides when, like, you know, I'm streaming almost every single day, and when I'm not streaming, I'm building new decks for the stream. Also, building cyborg guides has been hard to work into the current formula. Does it finale for 10 give your creatures haste? Yeah, I guess when I'm talking about the Tamashii deck, I'm kind of like addicted to like specifically Kyla's Reconstruction, and I'm really excited about it now too, because that also can put a Cauldron into play, it can put Lotus Bloom into play, it can put Tamashii into play, it can put Goblin Engineer into play, and you can accelerate into it with your Lotus Blooms. I think that card is like a really exciting engine. Playing Finale Asmo in the deck feels like it could work. Like Asmo plus Goblin Engineer has a decent amount of overlap. Cookbook would be another hit for your Reconstruction. And then Finale is your win condition with Tamashii. So like I kind of like the sound of all of that. And then you don't have to play Recruiter necessarily. Recruiter kind of sucks. I'm gonna put back the Mikaeus, I think. Yeah, just kind of like a more combo focused hand, right? Brew's Dream. I'll work on it tonight. I want to be working on some. I want to play some Cauldron tomorrow too. Imri cannot cast Lotus, but Imri was a card that was in a lot of my builds also. Ledger Shredder was a card that was in some of my builds. But I do agree that I agree with the sound of Finale as the win condition. I like the sound of it. Finale is also in combination with Lotus Bloom reasonably tutors for Bloom. It's a really good suggestion. And it does feel like Kyla's Reconstruction, Reconstruction. I always want to call it Restoration, but Reconstruction. It feels like that card is also going to be really good in the deck. Let's get Raugrin Triome. Probably not just slamming Heliod here. I wonder what I could draw that would change. I guess if I draw a second Heliod, I probably will. Cosmic Rebirth. Oh, I like Cosmic Rebirth, but I think it's probably too many slots. Okay, love for that to eat a counterspell. Yeah, I think if they're going to use a counterspell on the Giver, I think it's very likely they just have another counterspell. It is actually a question mark, though. Like, do I want to... Which of my 3-drops that... I'm going to play a 3-drop here. But which of my 3-drops do I want to get countered? I think we lead on Ranger-Captain. Also, like, they don't always have the other counterspell here, but they do probably like 95% of the time. So 3 cards left. I think because they've already used 2 counterspells on jamming Heliod, they could have a third. Unlikely though. The 03 Architect might play well in Cauldron Thomas. Yeah, I mean, I like that card. I wanna. The card is kind of tough with Cauldron because you have to have a good balance of creatures and non-creature spells. It's, you know, a bit easier said than done to strike that kind of balance. I think I'm going to play my Ballista also here. Yeah, Bean Heliod. Okay, I've been getting spell snared really hard by Murktide. So I've been getting got by it so bad. They keep a card on top. That being said, we're doing pretty okay here. Especially if they like get Delirium and attack, then worse if my Sentinel dies, but like lifelink on the Sentinel is not so bad here. And I was 2 devotion away from Heliod being a creature. They only have 1 card in their hand though. They've already used 2 counterspells and a spell snare. Oh, their last card is another Murktide. Well, that's good for them. Now I'm in a lot worse shape than I thought I might be. Still got a good amount of outs. The matchup overall is pretty good too, I think. So to draw Solitude. Okay. Game 2. So I'm gonna bring in Sanctifiers, Giant Killer, Forge-Tender, got Haywire Mite. All of the Heliods, I think, and then the Mikaeus. Move the deck Graveyard Bar back 2-card column width so we can see more play area. Deck Graveyard Bar 2-card column width so we can see more play area. Yeah, I actually don't know why it's so big today. Alright, deep. I think Goblin Engineer, Rona, Imri, mix for some spice with the Run Ring, Cauldron, Mox, Lotus. I mean, you have to have Tamashi to play Lotus, I think. Kind of interesting. Good shit. Thomas Shoes the first card mentioned. Oh, I just for some reason didn't see it there. I do skip most Twitch comments I see. Is Reprieve good against Murktide? That's the only card in their deck Reprieve lines up well against, and we have lots of other answers to Murktide. I'm gonna draw a bean. Be like game-winning draw here. I'll take a Cauldron though. Just gonna pressure their graveyard a little bit and incentivize them to like jam a Murktide here, then I can untap and binding it. Perfect. And then if we draw a Beanstalk, the game ends again. I'm plenty happy with Sentinel. I'll play it first just in case they have Force of Negation. And then I don't need to grow the Sentinel now. They may be unaware that if you grow Sentinel in response to the Sentinel trigger, they have to pay 2 instead of 1, and then they may not plan for that. Just like if something like this happens. I've been well, Golden. How have you been? One Xander's Lounge plus Temple Garden instead of 2 Triomes is my domain enabler. This is a Idyllic Grange deck. I would never consider not playing a basic Plains or a Plains Triome. Well, we have to start casting Solitudes next turn, I guess. Are we just playing Beanstalk over Ring? We also have Mikaeus, and like the sideboard is pretty revamped. This list is probably like 10 cards different from last time. But Beanstalk is better than Ring. I think that's been something that we've illustrated so far. Put a card on top. I think I'm under little enough I mean, it's just like so much more mana efficient for me to go Solitude. I also can like bait a counterspell the Solitude, untap, and then Beanstalk. And then one really nice thing about the Beanstalk too is like when you play Beanstalk over I'm gonna Solitude in response so they can't connive if they have a counterspell. Despite my Solituding a slightly worse creature, I think that they're likely enough to counterspell this that I want to do this, if that makes sense. You play 23 lands instead of 24 lands because you're on Bean instead of Ring, which means you have that extra flex spot to try out the Mikaeus. I was having a really hard time trying out Mikaeus without the Beanstalks in the deck. So if they have double counterspell, good beats, I suppose. Wow, what an insane draw. Binding is also, you know, kind of very simply 2 mana instead of 4 mana. Deal. I guess they could have second Stern Scolding for like insane blowout, but what are you gonna do? It's probably the most instants and sorceries I've ever had under 1 Cauldron also. I guess what I can do also to play around that is play a Ballista instead of a Solitude, because this doesn't get Scolding because it's a 3/3. Just have another Solitude. It's just insane draw. And I can get this up to 4 power, kill their board here. Although if they have they can have a Lightning Bolt as the last card. If that's the last card, that's fine. First time we've triggered Beanstalk with a Ballista on stream, I think. It does get hit something? A 3/3 gets hit by... Oh, the stack gets... Wait, oh, the stack gets a 0/0? Oh. Duh. Right. Well, they didn't have it. Good to know. Okay, so this was their draw for turn. They didn't have a counterspell last turn, so I'm feeling pretty safe to just jam a Solitude. And then we can get a Ballista underneath the Cauldron too. So they do have Delirium, which means I cannot save my Solitude with a Cauldron activation. Oh wait, no, so they have 2 creatures. But if they had only 1 creature, I could have. Alright, let's go ahead and tax this iteration by 1 more here. How, outside of just being a card, is Sentinel being an artifact relevant? In this deck, it being an artifact, I guess, is a downside, because it can get Force Invigorated and stuff, but... Yeah, it being an artifact is not relevant in this build. Pretty good for the iteration into both preordained here. They're still super behind, at least. No longer has Delirium either. Was maybe good to exile one of the creatures from their yard first. Missed the point damage. Whoopsie doopsie. I was even thinking about not missing it. Okay, game 3. I will keep this on the draw against Murktide for sure. It's on my Molten 6 on the play. Keeps their 6. If I turn Inkmoth into Ballista, yeah, that's pretty cool. Going to Portland or Indy? I don't even know what events are happening in Portland or Indy, unfortunately. Couldn't tell ya. So getting a blue creature in the graveyard is likely going to go a long way as far as getting Delirium for these channelers. They keep a card on top, get Delirium, hit me for 3. I'm not going to Solitude anything just yet. Delirium offline. What card did they keep on top? Another Lightning Bolts. So they're looking for Delirium here. They keep a card on top, however, instead of graveyarding something that would have given them Delirium. So they're going to go Ballista, just 1/1 Ballista. I think I kill the Sanctifier or the Channeler, and I'm also like just definitely the control deck in this matchup. I'm gonna leave, not trade 2 damage for 1 damage here. Modern 10k at Energy, and Modern 20k at Portland. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like not the kind of thing that I really feel like is worth traveling for me at the moment. They've already used 3 bolts? Yeah, 3 bolts. I think I feel comfortable enough taking this hit so I can get a little bit of value off my Beanstalk, which is kind of greedy. Wow, they're like super S6. They're kind of cool to a Murktide. Murktide be a 4/4. I can kill a 4/4 Murktide though by activating Sanctifier and Idyllic Granging a Sanctifier. And this is very little. Oh, I still have the Cauldron counter too. Do I even... I can't like Idyllic Grange anymore, but... I don't know that I am doing anything about this Magus of the Moon. Just gonna like block with Sentinel, Cauldron Sentinel, activate Sentinel if they attack. Yeah, you can excel opponent stuff with Cauldron. Cauldron's really good. Is it possible we could have forced the DRC attack and eaten the sorcery to remove Delirium? Yeah. Might have been better. We did beat Yogg, right? Yeah, we beat Yogg. Who we lose to? Plus a scam. Back it in. Man, I love this deck. Okay, so we lost our 4-1 prediction with the Fulminator deck this morning. Let's see if we get it here. Yeah. Man, I need to immigrate for the Canadian the Canadian pro system. You get 2 RCs a season. And they're like not like super duper late. Oh, Tron matchup is really bad. I guess we're just kind of hoping to draw a Ballista, and somehow that'd be good enough. Don't really have much of a sideboard plan against Tron, to be honest. Besides just hope things go well and combo them. Yeah, you get less invites, but it's also like probably even like how many people were at the Canadian RC? Like you get 8 total invites and you get 2 RCs, right? Like, and how many you know good Canadian people did we have at the RC this season? Because like the one in Atlanta, I would guess is probably going to be like 1,400 or something. Or like over 1,000, maybe not quite 1,400, but in that range. 170 in the main. Yeah, like the ratio there is like much. I would much rather play like. I guess we need to do the math. Like 4 invites for 178. Is that or 180? Is that's got to be a lot better than what is it like 24 for the Atlanta? Yeah, Dallas was like 1150, but I think Atlanta will be more. Is my guess. $32. I thought they're switching it from 32 to 24. It was 32, and they are dropping it to 24. Is that right? First Atlanta was 1,200. That sounds about right. Yeah. 32 for Atlanta. Okay. Or was it for? It was 48, and now it's 32. Okay, that's actually a lot better than I thought. Although still, that's a lot less invites. Okay, we're super screwed here. I'm gonna concede. My plan to requalify for the Pro Tour is just break Pioneer secretly, not say anything, maybe say something to Doomwake, and then spike Atlanta. Alright, this matchup is rough. Let's get it over with. I'm mulligan kind of aggressively to a combo. Secret tag. I don't have anything. I don't know. Yeah, my real plan to qualify is to immigrate to Canada. Maybe I can get domestic partnerships with Misplaced Ginger, or maybe he'll at least sponsor me. I don't. Moving to Canada sounds great, actually. Sounds like I mean, I guess housing market there is pretty rough. But I like the idea of being someplace colder. This summer in Texas was hell, dude. It was so bad. Well, today it's a high of 80. High of 80. I'm really excited. The lowest like high temperature in like 6 months or something. It's so cold. I'm honestly I like the sound of it being cold. I went to Austin this last weekend, and there's this cold spring. It's like 60 degrees or something. I went swimming in it. It's probably, you know, it's not probably much colder in Canada, but I liked swimming in the cold water. It was good. housing U.S. market is exactly fun experience. I know, but it's my perception that Canada's, Canada's like doesn't have as many big urban centers, and they're like about as bad as like the big urban areas in the States. It's sweater weather in Texas. High of 83. Texas seems awful aside from the heat. Yeah. Well, my favorite thing about Texas is that my friends and family are here. It's pretty sick. But yeah, definitely. Oh no, actually, what's the best thing about living in Texas is watching King of the Hill, and understanding every reference to Texas from King of the Hill. That's definitely the best part about growing up here. Why 4 beans in this deck? It's really fucking good is why. Also, if you're gonna play any beanstalks, 4 is kind of a funny thing to hone in on, because I've never seen less than... the only time I saw less than 4 was when Honorog won the Ragavan, actually. Or the Brainstorm, rather. But Beanstalk is a great card in this deck. Draws a lot of cards, cheap, lets you play like a powerful mid-range game plan, lets you play a lot with your interaction with your Solitudes and Bindings. Good card. Me and Esther watched the State Fair episode recently, where they have Big Tex. So Big Tex, I'm sure a lot of people don't know about Big Tex. Big Tex is a giant animatronic cowboy that presides over the State Fair. And I think he used to talk or still talks, I can't remember. But what's so funny to me about Big Tex in King of the Hill is that I would imagine that a lot of people watching the show would think that that's not real. that Big Tex is just like a funny thing they put in the show, but is all too real. I didn't know Big Tex was real. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Big Tex is real. I've seen Big Tex with my own eyes every year. I'm gonna see him soon, actually. Yeah, I can't remember if he talks or still talks, whatever. Yeah, but yeah, Alamo beer is real. It's real, all of it. What is that from? Alright, Reprieve, you got some work to do. I've seen that episode, did not think it was real. That's so funny, because that's exactly what I was thinking watching the episode, that people would not think Big Tex was real. Honestly, most of the lore and King, stuff about Tex, I haven't seen anything that isn't real, besides Arlen, Texas not being a real place, but it's kind of like a mix of a couple cities. Yeah, Big Tex did burn down, but they built him back better than ever. Yeah, the Cowboys are a football team. They just not doing anything? Yeah, the Sweet's Revenge deck is super cool. Have fun, Synthetic. Learn your formulas. Study. I don't know, I guess I'm just gonna do this. Could be worth Reprieve the Scrying, since opponent's probably gonna cast Ulamog. I mean, I'm not fucking beating an Ulamog, you know what I mean? And Reprieve is not very likely to stop my opponent from Ulamogging. What if you did the X deck from the other day with Tron lands? Kind of an idea. Do you think it would be fine to play Stomping Ground and Sweet's Revenge deck for Alpine Moon? I'm trying to improve the Tron matchup. Well, you could play Alpine Moon and Cleansing Wildfire, I guess, over the Assassin's Trophies. If you feel like that's a better way to approach the matchup, I encourage you to try it. Okay, so I get Ranger-Captain, Ballista on 0, Protection from Colorless, Attack for 4. Then I have Lethal next turn. I get this. Oh, they had a stupid Blast Zone. Oh, I can't beat the Blast Zone. I can get Haywire Mite, but I don't have enough mana to activate it. Wait, why is it turn 6 and I only have 4 lands in hand, but I have a land in my hand? Oh, because I drew a land off Reprieve, I drew a land for turn. I just can't beat the Blast Zone, y'all. It's like just not gonna happen. Alright, let's concede. Tough matchup. What are my thoughts on deck choice for Atlanta, and when will I get to Pioneer testing? When it's like a bit closer to RCQ season. I need to be starting soon, probably. Maybe November will start if I want to get really lazy about it. I don't know. Also, like, do we have a new we have a new set release before the RC, right? The